All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. I am your man, CJ. Now, I've got a great story for you all today, so let's talk about it. So, two prominent Ghanaian artists, D Black, who is a Ghanaian rapper, as well as Sarkodie, have both come out in recent piece to talk about Nigerian success and what has been that driving force. These two recognize the force and the presence of Nigerians. And I want to go over this because I think now we're seeing more and more people who were once critical of Nigerians, critics, now coming out publicly and really giving their viewpoints and giving kudos to Nigerians for their success with music and with everything else. D Black, who I said is a rapper and famous for hits a couple of years ago, like Shega, when he collaborated with Junky, and also with hits like Employment Minister with Stonebwoy, and many others a couple of years ago. Came out recently on a podcast where he made him, he went on and on about the success of Nigerians, and I want to read what he said so that way you can hear it from him. And I want to talk about that because I think it's very interesting now that we're seeing, a lot of Ghanaian artists respect the brains and the success of Nigerians and how Nigerians have really pioneered this thing. And then I'll talk about Sarkodie in a minute. So let's talk about D Black for a second. So Ghanaian rapper and singer Desmond Kwesi Blackmore, aka D Black, has identified business acumen as the reason Nigerian artists are more successful than their Ghanaian counterparts. He said Nigerian artists are business driven, whereas their Ghanaian counterparts make music just for the love of the art. Now, he also said that why Nigerian records are flying higher than Ghanaian ones is because Ghanaian artists don't really care about the money. They don't care about the business. It's just the love of the art, which overpowers everything. There's really no business behind it. He went on to say, BET nominations, all the accolades, I made no money. But as soon as I switched to commercial mood, Afrobeats, I bought my Ferrari and Range Rover. I was everywhere. Artists and creatives need to understand that music alone is not enough. You need to get up and grind. You need to take advantage of social media to promote your craft. So let's talk about that for a second, because I think that this is one of those things that gets lost many times when people are trying to understand why Nigerians are so successful with their music, their Afrobeat music. And I've said this many times on my podcast, that the reason why Nigerians are successful primarily in many things, we're talking about music right now, is because Nigerians take the time to study the business behind it, right? And that is a key part that most people fail to understand, especially artists, is there's a business element to creativity. If you're going to mass produce your product, if you're going to be successful in a global market, if you're going to reach a wider audience, understanding the business behind that craft is more important than you just having a talent. It's great to have talent, but if you don't understand the mechanism to getting your information or your gift, your skills, your talent to a wider range of audience, you really are not going to be known by anyone other than those in your local community. So understanding the business behind it, what drives an audience, what market drives a product, testing your product in a particular market, testing your style with a particular audience, understanding the temperature, giving the market what they want in many instances, partnering with certain types of, individuals within the industries. That is what you call the business of anything. And that's what's going to set you apart. And that's what Nigerians did early on. And they understood this. This is why Nigerians were able to export Afrobeats to the West and to the globe the way they did. Because Nigerians partnered with a lot of people, which is essentially why many of the artists also signed with international label. As much as I am critical of that, I understand the business behind that, right? Because what that does is it exposes them to an audience that they will regularly not be able to reach had they just stayed in their territory. Now, of course, there's a cost to that, but that's why they did it. That is part of that business of music. It is also a business of music when you're singing or producing songs that will appeal to 90% of the earth. Most of Nigerian songs are in English, and we've said this many times, compared to a lot of Ghanaians who sing in a local dialect. And I've talked about this many times. And so Nigerians understanding that the world at large speaks English. So let's communicate in a language they understand. Nigerians could equally be singing songs in a local dialect. We've seen some artists do that in Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to really conquer this business of music, you're going to need to relate to the world. And the world doesn't speak your language, right? The world speaks English. That is a business side of music. And then he talked about using social media, which is another part. So we know that when they write a good documentary on Afrobeat, and when a real credible documentary on Afrobeat really comes out, you'll find that TikTok and social media was a driving tool that really made Afrobeat large. So Nigerians, again, knowing and understanding the audience, where their audiences are, what they're using, really focused to make sure that it was platform friendly, social media friendly, making sure that their music was pushed through the social media platform, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. That is the business of music. And then moving from their location, taking the time to tour internationally, even while they were not making money. Okay, I've often said it with Burna Boy, and he even said it himself, that they were touring around Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Houston. They were going all over the place, and they weren't making any money, but they were getting their footprints all over the place to be known outside of their comfort zone. That is the business of music. To also then partner with industry giants, right? That is the key part of music. Early on, guys like Akon adopted and took on Afrobeat artists to partner with the likes of those guys, to partner with the likes of Fat Joe, Chris Brown. Early on, of course, some of these collaborations came with, either paying them to collaborate, money out of their pockets. They weren't probably getting a lot of return in the first instant stage of that, but they understood what they were trying to do here. They were trying to reach a wider audience. That is the business of music. And so Nigerians understood this early on. It's essentially the same way we approach many things in our lives, business-wise. It's the same playbook. There's no magic behind it. There's no hidden agenda. There wasn't anything so mysterious about it. It's just essentially what you have to do. It's the same playbook that most people use in the West or anywhere to ensure that their craft and their skills reaches a wider audience. That is the business of music. And so D Black says that when he understood that, and the moment he started focusing on that, his life changed. He was able to buy his first Ferrari. Congratulations. That's good. He switched his whole style from what he was doing to making sure that his music appeals to a larger mass consumption. This is one thing that Ghanaians have failed to understand. This is why the artists have not been able to move their music forward. And so D Black says now he's singing Afrobeats. He's singing Nigerian music because he understands that this is the most commercialized, genre right now. So he's jumping on that. Do you understand this? And he's giving Nigerians a kudos. And I can appreciate that. And it's the same thing we've said many times that I think that a lot of people from Ghana don't seem to understand. And they failed at this. And the sad part of this was that rather than a lot of them really ask Nigerians, how did you do it? We saw last year a lot of the artists really bashing Nigerians, even Stonebwoy. Even Sarkodie. We saw Ghanaian artists and Cameroon artists talk about let's ban Nigerian music from our country. Nonsense like that. Even as recently, Cameroonians are still doing that. But they're hurting their own people because the likes of Sarkodie, who now is every interview, he's always praising Nigerians now. He has now realized that why fight the money people? You're fighting the money people. You know, he's changed his tune. Same thing with Stonebwoy. Stonebwoy, every chance now he goes to Nigeria and collaborates with podcasters. He's collaborating with Nigeria because he is now understood. He's grown. That's what you call growth. He's now grown to understand that you can't fight the money people. Nigerians are the money people. Nigerians are the money game. They won't succeed in here. Right? And if I'm going to make it out here, I need to kill that tone with causing these types of animosity against Nigerians. So you find Stonebwoy changing his tone. You find even Shatawale, who is a known critic of Nigerians. You know, he's like all over the place. You know, he's all over the place. But you find one thing that he's remained consistent with is that he's giving Nigerians his kudos. He's like, listen, Nigerians got this thing. We got to give it to them. Nigerians are this. He understands that you can't fight the money people. Nigeria has the biggest market, the biggest engaged audience. Their audience have a vast amount of disposable income, which means that they can go to your concert and pay whatever the ticket price is to your concert. Move your concert forward. That is the money people when it comes to Africa. So these guys are switching up and they're now embracing every interview. They're giving Nigerians their kudos. D-Black, Stonebwoy, Sarkodie. Sarkodie, in a recent interview, I want you to hear what he had to say. Because I think it's interesting that Sarkodie, is now seen giving Nigerians praise. Because, again, I've done videos on Sarkodie. Sarkodie, not too long ago, what I mean not too long, I'm talking about last year. And a year ago, Sarkodie was one of those people who was critical of Nigerians and promoting this whole, what I call very shameful and very career killer messaging, which is let's ban Nigerians and not allow Nigerians. He was one of those people. And I think he realized that was affecting his brand and he wasn't making waves with that type of rhetoric. And he was smart enough to switch. So Sarkodie now is all Team Nigeria. So listen to what he said in terms of Nigerians are winners. Nigerians are amazing when it comes to business acumen. And why that has been the driving force in our success. So take a listen to this and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I remember talking to Stonebwoy because he was here like a couple of weeks ago and we were also conversating about the thing with why we know so many Nigerian artists, because there are also a lot of Ghanaian artists, but it's like the whole world is fixated on. What do you think that the reason is is it just because that Nigerian artists just popped out with more songs and songs that became very, very big, or is there another reason for that?
I think for something to dominate, there's a lot of factors. When people say it's just the music, that could be one. Music could be a trend, but to sustain something for a very long time, it takes a lot. And their culture cuts across. It comes from even just the people as Nigerians. Just take the artists out. I always say Nigerian music, I use the artists as icing on the cake. It's the people themselves. They're very dominating. When you go to any community, you have Nigerians there, you have their presence felt. When they do something, it's grand. So when they have a good timing, if 5 artists have great songs doing well, I'm pretty sure a Nigerian event promoter is going to push the envelope and go for a venue that even the locals here are scared to go to. He's going to make a mark. Yeah. And as soon as he announced it, his people are going to pull up and fill up the place. So if you look at the whole format, these are people who like to challenge themselves. You can't take away that from them. Yeah. And I feel like as Africans, yes, we have Ghana, Nigeria, but I think it's still the same.
It's one voice.
So we just have our brothers being able to push the boundaries and we just, we're sliding there. So that you can take away from Nigerians from every aspect, not just music, business, everything.
Yeah.
These guys actually go all out and get it done. So I picked most of my moves from hanging around them. Yeah. That is why I'm able to just move away from Ghana and try to move a step further. They lay down the blueprint literally. So yes, definitely a big shout out to Nigeria.
Inspirational.
Yes, so that was interesting that Sarkodie said that. And you heard him say it, that he is moved away from Ghana and is moved towards Nigerians. He's aligning himself with Nigerians because he understands that Nigerians are very driven. You can't take it away from us. We're always driven. You heard Sarkodie talk about our culture drives everything that we do. Our culture, they need to be successful. They need to excel in anything. He even used an example. If you have 5 artists, going up, there's a Nigerian, there's a force behind those artists. And that would be a Nigerian. You heard him say it. Sarkodie understands now the driving force behind Nigerian success, which is our culture, which is our ability to grind, to stay focused, to get things done. And now, of course, I'll be remiss if I don't point out the fact that he also said we're all one voice. Hold on a second, Sarkodie. I understand that. But it's amazing how people are quick to say we're all one voice when they want to jump on our success. Oh, now it's one voice. But when these guys want to criticize us, it's Nigerians. It's not one voice. It's not, a duality. It's Nigerians. But of course, when Nigerians are lifting Africa up, we're all one voice. Okay. Hold on. Calm down. Give us our flower first before we start talking about this one voice thing. Do you understand this? Because we're happy to really share the platform and lift Africa, which is what we're doing. See, Africa is on the map right now. Don't get it all twisted. Africa is on the map right now solely because of Nigeria's effort. Nigeria is not the only one doing it, but Nigeria is the one leading this thing. Nigeria is leading it. And I think that to hear a person like Sarkodie really come out and really praise Nigerians the way he has done on that podcast, I commend him. I like to see more like that because I think that it shows growth. It shows that a person is willing to admit when they're wrong and say, you know what, what I was saying about Nigerians was not true. You got to give it to them. These guys are amazing. And it's not just in music. He said it. We're winning everywhere. And it's because of the attitude that we approach things with. It's a level of details, taking the time to learn certain things. See, Nigerians will take the time to learn something, which is why we go to school. We don't just wishy-washy our way into things. It takes an incredible amount of dedication, patience, to go to school and earn more than 1 degree. An average Nigerian has 2 degrees. I have 3. An average Nigerian has 2 degrees. It takes a level of dedication to want to learn your craft, to want to learn something, to take your time, to sacrifice your time, effort to learn something. Nigerians are known for this. It doesn't come easy. But we're known to doing it. And we're known to then taking that thing that we've learned and make it an enterprise. Commercialize it. Make it bigger than it is. It's essentially why most people are threatened by Nigerians. Most people aren't threatened by us because of all the negative things they've heard. That's not why people know us. People are threatened by Nigerians because if you go anywhere and you place a Nigerian amongst people that are non-Nigerian, that Nigerian is about to take it over. People know this. And so essentially when you have people who can't match up, naturally people are threatened by that. Because more and more, it's been proven that more and more when you see Nigerians always stand out as formidable and successful. Doesn't matter if it's music, doesn't matter if it's in politics, doesn't matter if it's in tech world, doesn't matter if it's in medicine, doesn't matter if it's in sports. Nigerians are dominating sports. UFC fighters now. Nigerians are the ones that are making a name for themselves in the UFC fighters. Runners, Nigerians, are in there. Movie actors, Nigerians, both internationally and locally. You find Nigerians' names floating around. And it's only just going to continue because the generation today is just producing the next generation and replicating the next generation of this greatness. I know me, I'm replicating that with my kids. So by the time my kids turn 21 and 22, they're over here taking the banner forward and exemplifying that strength and that greatness that comes from being a Nigerian. It is something that every Nigerian ought to be proud of. It's something that we walk in. But understand this, for those that are not Nigerians, it didn't come easy. We put in the work. We did what was necessary to get our name to change the narrative for ourselves. It didn't just happen on a whim. It didn't just happen in a vacuum. We did the work. We sacrificed the time. We spent the money. We lost in certain areas so that we can gain in the future. We understood we understood what hard work produced. We understood, what it means to slave for today so you can gain tomorrow. We understand this as Nigerians. You'll find Nigerians who would move to the West and they'll work at Burger King, McDonald's, one of these places, and they're going to school at night. They're putting in the work. 5 years later on, that person is graduated, is making money much more than the manager who 5 years prior was his boss. He's changed his whole trajectory. Nigerians will do that. We'll take the time to do these things. And so when people see that, they see the after effect. They see the outcome. They don't see the grind that went into it. And of course, that's usually what happens, right? But people that work hard, that put in the time will tell you, it didn't come easy. It's an Afrobeat theme. It didn't come easy. See, by the time the whole world knew Wizkid in 2010, Wizkid had been starting in 2006, 2005, 2006. By the time people knew Davido was coming up in the early 2000s. Nobody knew his name. He was grinding this thing out. By the time people hear about these other guys that people know of, look at that, Shakir just got his breakthrough. Filled out the O2 arena. You think he just woke up last night and decided to do this thing and just got the crowd? No, Ashake was grinding out here. Signed to guys like Olamide. It took time for this. And anyone who's not willing to put the work isn't deserving of any reward on the other end. Anyone who's not willing to sacrifice today isn't entitled to any reward on the other end. And that is why Nigerians are going to dominate for a long time, because we have the right attitude as it relates to putting in the time so we can enjoy the profit or the reward in the future. We have that attitude. We don't mind doing it. We don't mind doing it. It's what sets us apart from other black groups. We're not faking it. We're not like, hey, okay, let me just go and wishy-washy my way through this. No, we understand here's the work that needs to be done. Here's where I want to get. What do I need to do to get here? So this is what I need to do. That's what I got to do. It's the skills I need to learn. How long is it going to take me to learn this thing? I need to put in time. That's it. And once we are focused and have our eyes zeroed in on something, there's nothing that can change our mind. Because the outcome and the end goal is what we think about. It's essentially how I got through school. It wasn't easy. Essentially how I was able to form and become successful in my career is because I looked at the end goal. This is where I want to get to. This is the life I want to have. What we got to do to get this thing done. So while everyone else is just talking about it, we are being about it. That's why a lot of people can talk about Nigerians today. Nigerians are all over the place. And they're going to keep talking about Nigerians because we're not going to stop. Because we're just reproducing the exact same replica of who we are. It's like a copy. You understand? And so I'm appreciative when I see guys who were able to change their perception of us, who now understand that it hurts them more demonizing us, especially if you're going to be in the same space, than it helps them. It hurts them. And some of the other ones who are still infants, who haven't learned this, they're going to learn this. I'm starting to see more and more people change their tone about Nigerians because they're realizing that this hurts them more. And you're going to see it not just with black space, not just with African space, not just with our people's space. You're going to see it in the Western world where even the same ones who demonized us are going to begin really pushing out the beauty of who we are. You're going to be seeing this. I've said this many times. You're going to see this. And you're going to say, CJ said this. Because I'm already sensing the temperature in the room. So I'm glad to see D Black, Sarkodie, and a couple of other Ghanaian artists jumping on this and saying Nigerians are the best, because we are the best. We are amazing people. We are awesome people. Some people realize it early. Some people it takes them a while to get to it, but they eventually find out that we're amazing people. The best thing anyone can do if you're looking for partners, partner with a Nigerian. I've said this many times. And I love to see how people move things forward. And I love to see that while we're doing it, we did it in style. We did it with class. We let our work speak for us. We let the result speak for us. We didn't need to jam it down anyone's throat. The numbers speak for us. And for that, I say kudos to my peoples, and continue to shine, and shine you will forever. Thank you all for watching this video. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.
Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh hi. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. På det jag lägger all min tid, jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Det kan nog leda